Okay, everybody, we're a couple minutes late because I had some technical issues, but we are here, and we're glad that you're here. We're live and in living color, and I'm grateful for all of you who have been talking about it. I've got to say a quick shout out to a couple people who I met this weekend, who I told them I was going to give them a shout out for our Happily Married Monday program. A couple people said, I watch every week. So I didn't tell you, I was in Carolina Kitchen yesterday after I spoke at the Shepherd's House, where I met these beautiful folks on Friday and Saturday. But I spoke for worship service there yesterday, and we stopped to get a quick bite.
He stopped to get collard greens.
I got to have some collard greens. That's fine.
That's what happened.
She had cooked great chicken, and I was getting some collard greens. Right. So I met a lady in line. Her name was Karen Denise Smith. She said, I watch every Monday night. And so Karen Denise Smith, I give you a shout out. And then I met another lady, Sybil Smith, who I told her I was going to give a shout out. Okay, now that I've given my shout outs to the people who I promised, let me get to today's message and today's special event. We've got a special couple here today. We did an event on Friday night at the Shepherd's House International Christian Church. They had their marriage retreat experience. Beautiful program.
Very well done.
And you see Dee and I on here with our friends Bishop Al and T. Way, who will be our guests next Monday night. So y'all want to put that on your schedule because they are phenomenal. And then we had Dr. Dwight and Sonia Williams, and they are awesome. Let me tell you who they are. They specialize in marriage therapy, marriage counseling, marriage ministry, trying to keep people married and dealing with all the drama that happens. Let me tell you who they are. Dwight, he is a physicist. I don't know how to spell physicist. Okay, he earned a BS and an MS degree in nuclear engineering from NSSU, and he earned a PhD in nuclear engineering from the University of Maryland. In addition to these academic credentials, he also holds a professional engineering PE license.
What does that mean?
A professional credential that enables him to sign engineering blueprints and to serve as an expert witness.
Wow.
Now, Reverend Sonia, she's a minister as well as a licensed clinical marriage. Lord have mercy. She's been involved in study and work of enriching marriages for over 2 decades. Academically, her undergraduate degree focuses on family studies. I've never heard of such, okay? Wow. Her master's degree, one of the master's degrees from a Master's of Divinity focused on pastoral counseling, and a Master of Science degree focused on marriage and family therapy. Yeah. And as a University of Maryland instructor, she supervises marriage and family therapy graduate studies. And while at Johns Hopkins University, she taught the graduate level marriage and family therapy and couples therapy courses. They are dynamite. And so as soon as we met them, we started saying, oh, we got to get them here on our Happily Married Monday night message. And so they were kind enough to be able to come tonight to be part of our show. This is going to be fantastic. I want to tell everybody, Lottie, Dottie, and everybody to blow this up. Hit the likes, follow us, hit the little hearts, do it all. People on your network need to be around here because we're going to deal with some of the questions that we got from couples on Saturday.
Yes.
We had a panel.
We had a panel on Saturday.
And were those some questions or what?
Real issues.
Some issues. You would be surprised, folks, that there are really some challenges even in church conferences.
Right. So the goal is, let's go back to what is our goal?
What is our goal?
Our goal is to Save a million marriages.
Save a million marriages.
Enhance a million more.
And enhance a million more. That's why we wrote the
So
book.
if
Make
they
love,
continue-
make money, make it
So
last.
if they continue to watch us, they won't be surprised at all the different things that come up because they'll get to hear them from us.
Yes.
Right.
They'll
There
be
you
ready.
go.
Yes.
Yeah.
And how not to have some of those issues.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, real quick, I want to tell, I gave this thumbnail sketch about the two of you guys. Y'all have had marriage ministry for over 20 years at different churches.
Yeah.
Y'all been overseeing, as well as you do this for a living.
Yes.
He's a physicist, but she's a marriage counselor. So, tell us a little more about, the two of you.
How'd y'all meet?
We
In the
met.
library?
And somewhere educational,
Right.
big thinkers, that's where they met.
Yeah, you can go.
We met at Greater Mount Calvary Holy Church
Yeah.
in D.C. We had a call for people to participate in the singles ministry,
Okay.
and Bishop Owens wanted to start a singles ministry, and Dwight and I were the co-directors
Wow.
of the ministry.
And y'all were singles.
And we were
Yeah,
single.
way
back
We
then.
were single.
And
But,
y'all-
through working together in ministry, we grew closer together and then ended up moving to the marriage ministry.
All right, great. And y'all have a 12-year-old son.
We do. We have
Alright.
a 12-year-old son.
Amen.
And we serve in the marriage ministry at Reed Temple.
Okay.
We also have a nonprofit called Love Savers, where we do.
Is there a
marriage-
website for that?
Yes, it's
Say it.
Love Savers, LOVESAVERS.org.
Okay.
Say it
Love
again.
Savers.
Love Savers, LOVESAVERS.org.
And what does that do?
At Love Savers, we help people to become single people to become marriage ready, to learn relationship skills. We have workshops and seminars. We do retreats, couples retreats.
Great.
We have a women's retreat actually coming up in January, Martin Luther King weekend, and we help women to pursue their dreams, to identify their goals, their dreams, and their calling. And then we equip them with the skills that they need to go from where they are to where they want to be. We've had several people to publish books. One person was elected a delegate for the state of Maryland, the House of Delegates for the state of Maryland. Have another person who wanted to become a real estate mogul, and she's purchased 3 properties in the last maybe 5 or 6 years. 3 properties. Her most recent one was a apartment building, which is really nice.
That's
Yes.
great. So it's
We help
working.
that. Yeah,
Now, were they
it's working.
married or single?
They are married, so
Okay.
we also have had marriage retreats
Okay. So,
where we help couples to come together because it works best when you're working together to pursue
and
these
y'all, go ahead.
I was just going to say one thing that I think makes Love Savers a little different than most organizations is, we really recognize the benefit of physical activity as it relates to, learning about one another and those kind of things. So on our marriage retreat, you might find an activity where, you're walking through the woods, trying to, learn about each other through the obstacle course that you might be working. We're
We
both
are
certified.
certified trained team builders.
Okay.
So we
Yeah.
try to make learning fun. So
Right.
it's not your
Yes.
typical
That's great.
couples retreat. We try to include really fun activities.
So here's why I
Great.
wanted to bring them on, because they do this. They're not talking about it. They do it. Many of you have asked us, do we do marriage counseling? And we tell you, not really, because we just tell you what has worked for us.
Right.
And of course, we do have people who occasionally we will give some insights to, but they are certified marriage counselors and therapists. And that's why we are so glad we developed a relationship with them. Because I told her, I said, we've been looking for folks to send people to who come to us. So that's one thing. Now, let's talk about your marriage, your relationship, and some of your problems and some of your issues. And then some of the things we shared on the panel the other day. Many of you know the book has just taken off. Make Love, Make Money, Make It Last. For those who might be new or might have gotten this link, you can go to jollymarriage.com, jollymarriage.com,
JOLLEY
marriage.com, and get a free chapter.
Mm.
Now,
agree on how to disagree, really, which
Yeah,
is a
right.
major issue.
Let's talk about some of these questions. We had some questions on Saturday.
Saturday.
So we spoke Friday night. When did y'all speak? Friday during the day.
Saturday morning.
Oh, Saturday morning.
Saturday
Right,
morning.
right, right. And then Saturday, after that, there we had a game, which was Phantom, and then we had a panel,
Right.
which was fabulous. And again, Bishop Al Way and his wife T, who do a program on personality types and how they impact marriage, will be with us next Monday night. Now, let's talk about some of these questions. D, let's go. Choose whatever ones you want to start with.
Let's start with an easy one.
All right.
Why does my spouse try to control me?
You hear that? You've heard that one before? Have you heard that one
Is
before?
that an easy one?
I have heard that before.
Wow.
You mean was I saying it?
No.
Just keep
You
looking.
just heard that when people who come to visit you.
Yes,
Right.
yes.
So what do you tell them?
I don't hear it in that way. Why do they
Yeah,
try?
why don't you
There's a complaint.
tell some of the things you hear? Because that one is easy,
Right.
but I want her to tell a few of the things she commonly
Well,
hears.
related
Well, I
in
think-
No,
this vein.
No, just go.
I think
Go with
I
it.
think that's a good question, though. There are many times where we feel controlled, like our spouse is trying to control us, that they're trying to achieve some goal that is counter to our own. And so I think that's where we start. Just the fact that they have different sets of needs, different perspectives, different wants and goals, and that's what's causing the tension. That's what's causing the conflict in that moment. So they feel controlled because there's something. See, if you want to do the same thing that I want to do, then I don't have to control you because we're on the same page.
Okay.
So the fact that you are complaining about feeling controlled is an indication that we don't want the same thing.
So
we're not on the same page.
So how do you tell people who come with that complaint? What do you say to them?
I point out the fact that what is it that you want? Okay, well, what is it that you want? And now we have to talk about how we negotiate, how we articulate and communicate. That's what we talk
So
about.
come back to this
weekend.
again, the big three things that break up marriage: sex,
Yes.
money, communication. It's
Right.
going to probably fall in one of those areas.
Yes.
So they
And I'm
have
gonna add one too.
Well, yes.
Division of labor is what we call it in our field, but it is. I feel like I'm doing
All the
more
work.
work.
everything,
Equity.
everything.
Equity.
Right.
So we
Right.
talk about in the book, we talk about that as sharing the power
Yes.
and sharing the responsibilities.
Yes.
Right.
So we had one of the biggest divorce lawyers in America
Yes.
is a friend of ours.
Oh, wow.
We met him at the gym,
Lives in Maryland.
Sanford Berman,
Okay.
and he and his wife Linda been married 49 years.
Wow.
And so he said, we've been married 49 years, yet I deal with divorces every day. He drives up in the gym in his Rolls Royce. Okay?
Ah.
And he says,
Divorce can be very, very
he said it can be
profitable.
very
Yeah.
profitable.
You want to get it right on the front end.
He said you got to share the power.
Yeah.
Right.
Share the power. So what we want to say to you is in terms of how do you handle that, again, it comes down to communicating.
Right.
And what we say is share the power. And then remember the 4 F's that we teach in the seminars. And we want you to know that we're going to make sure you know how to get some access to one of our most popular seminars before we leave tonight. But the 4 F's are be friendly, never start off hostile. Because when you start off hostile, people have defense mechanisms that they put up. Next, be frank. Tell the truth. Here's how. Okay, the sound is a little bit low. Okay, well, we'll turn up the sound. We got to turn up the VI. Oh, no wonder.
Oh, my goodness.
No wonder.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Right.
Cheryl.
Thank you.
All right, for
Thanks.
those, Cheryl just sent me a text saying that the sound is
Wow.
low, but I just fixed that. All right, I get my phone in case she coming back with something else to say to me. All right, so hopefully that's better. Yay! All right.
All right.
The sound was low because the volume was down.
Yeah.
So again, for those who might not have heard, this is Dr. Dwight
Yeah.
and Reverend Sonia
Yeah.
Williams, and she's a certified marriage therapist. He's a marriage therapists. Well, because they run a marriage ministry.
Right.
As
But
well
he
as
has a PhD.
he's a physicist. I can't even spell physicist. All right. Anyway, so we were together this weekend. For those who might have heard it or coming in late, we were together this weekend at the Shepherd's House International Christian Church. There were 3 couples that they featured as the speakers. D and I, Bishop Al Way and T Way, and they'll be our guests next Monday night, and then the Williamses. Now, they deal with this every day. This is their full time.
Well, it's my full time.
Her full time. Yeah, he's a
He's
physicist. He got it
Right.
He's working his physicist
But
stuff.
we work in marriage ministry.
But y'all work in marriage ministry at your
Yeah,
church,
yeah.
as well as your event, your
Yes.
program again. Say it again
Yes.
because we might not have heard it.
Lovesavers.org. Love Savers is an organization that helps people prepare, helps single people prepare for marriage readiness, I guess, develop marriage readiness. And we help married couples stay together to develop the skills to maximize their marriage, to get the most out of their marriage, to create healthy, happy, loving lives together. But we try to do it in a way that is really fun.
Right.
You know, where you're not just sitting down getting, teaching and instruction, but we try to incorporate team building principles and practices that allow you to become active, and that helps also. 'Cause
Well,
not everybody has
the
the same
interaction
way.
helps.
Right,
Yeah,
right, right,
interaction.
exactly.
So
Yeah, it helps you.
they also are very active in helping marriages stay together. So we want to help 1 million marriages stay together
Yes.
and enhance 1 million more, and that's what they're doing. And we have decided we're going to do a seminar, a real deal seminar. So many people asked. We're going to let you know a date. So if you send us an email about your interest, we're going to have a seminar probably early January, but we're working on a date. Let's go with one of the questions that came up on Saturday.
Yeah.
Was, what do you do when you have a imbalance in affection?
Yeah.
You remember that question?
Yeah.
And the fact that one of them said, I'm very affectionate, the other one could...
Doesn't return the
Yeah.
affection. I think it was
Yeah.
worded
Yeah,
more like
that's
that.
how it doesn't return the affection. What do you do with that?
Well, I think so. What we do, and it depends on who we're working with. If we're working with a premarital couple and
Yeah.
that comes up,
Uh-huh.
then that's something you want to consider. Because
Okay.
if you have a person whose love language is physical touch,
Mm.
or a person whose love language is quality time or words of affirmation, that means I like a lot of attention. You may have a person who's service oriented, or they're just really busy, and they may not have the need for that much
Yes.
time, that much attention. It may be that they're in a stage of life where they're trying to establish themselves professionally. It doesn't mean I don't love you. It just means
I
that
don't
I
have
am
time.
I don't have the bandwidth. I need to get through this project. I need to get through this season.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I was gonna say, I mean, to me, I need to know just a little bit more, because even as you introduce the different love languages, it could be a situation where one person is giving all of this love, but it's just in the wrong language.
Yeah.
So it's not even being received.
Yeah.
You know, I need physical touch, and you're doing all these words of affirmation, and so my jar is still empty because you're just pouring the wrong thing into that jar.
Wow.
Have you guys
That's
talked
good.
about love
Yeah.
languages? Are you familiar?
But
Yeah,
you
yeah,
can
yeah.
explain more.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
So, with love languages, Gary Chapman
Yes.
is the author of that, originator of love languages, and he lists 5 ways that people express and identify that they're being loved. Words of affirmation, physical touch, acts of service, quality time. And quality time is a tricky one because sometimes we go out on a date and we're watching a movie and we think that that's quality time, but the way that he identifies quality time is that you're sharing your undivided attention with each other. So my attention isn't focused on the movie screen, my attention is focused on you. So I'm listening to you, I'm learning about you, you're sharing yourself with me, I'm sharing myself with you. What was the 5th one? Acts of service?
Yeah,
Did I
acts of-
say that one?
I don't know if I think that's
So quality time, acts of service, words of affirmation, physical touch and gifts.
Right.
That's my love language.
Yes, it
Gifts,
is.
don't want to forget about gifts. And gifts are little things. It doesn't have to be a big, extraordinary gift, but it can just be, you know, I got this candy bar for you. It says that while I was away from you, I was still thinking about
Yes.
you. And this is the proof of that. So, most couples don't have the same love language, and that's where we
Or
end
they
up
might not
in
even
conflict.
know.
Yeah,
Right,
they don't know.
They're
right.
not conscious of what their love languages are.
Right,
Right.
absolutely. They
Yeah.
don't know. And so we have different love languages.
Right.
I'm a gifts person, and Dwight is a acts of service person.
Right, exactly. I was like, she better get it right.
We've been married
And we're
22
Jolley.
years. So
Yeah.
Physical
you know?
touch.
I'm a physical. I got a lot of physical touch, and I give her. And I used to send her little notes on.
Toilet paper.
No, not toilet paper.
Yes. Sometimes no, you got toilet paper.
No, it wasn't toilet paper. It was
The
like
truth comes
Yeah,
out.
yeah.
napkins,
Yes.
napkins.
Everything.
Yeah,
He
yeah,
write
yeah.
me
That,
little
you know
notes
what?
on a train or something. So maybe it
But
wasn't
that
toilet
sounds
paper.
like words of affirmation.
You know,
know?
I give her a little bit of everything. I give her the
Right.
words of
But it's
service. I
mostly,
do it all.
but it's words. I mean, he talks for a living, so
Yeah.
he does a lot of. Does a
Yeah.
lot of.
Yeah.
Right.
He does a lot of that, and sometimes I have to say, I can't take it anymore. You have to.
Right.
No,
Yeah,
that's but you don't usually
it's
say.
just
She doesn't usually say that
Yeah.
unless she's had to be on stage all day. When she get on stage, she's an introvert,
Yes.
and so being on stage for her is draining. Where it's empowering.
It's
for her.
empowering.
right,
It
right,
is
right.
even more.
Yes.
And I'm
That's
like,
the change.
Right.
All right, let's go to another one. 'Cause
Okay.
we got a lot to do in a little bit of time.
How are we on time, Willie John?
We're 24 minutes in, so we got a lot to do. There's some tricky ones.
Okay, here are just how do I get my spouse to exercise more?
Talk to them.
Yes.
I think that's the simple one, and encourage them. Okay, for those who were at the seminar the other day, I talked about how I got D to be an entrepreneur. By input determines output,
Yeah.
and I started saying, here's an audio that I thought would be good. No, here's an
He
audio
strokes my ego.
that I
That's
love,
the short
and I
of
thought
it.
the guy was
Right,
good,
right.
and I want your opinion. So, little things like, hey, you looking great. Let's go walk. Or,
Yeah.
encourage them. And when they do
Yeah.
a little bit, you celebrate that.
Yes.
And you encourage that. You
Yes.
condition that.
Yeah.
Rather than fussing, that ain't going to do it.
Right.
Am I right?
And if it's exercise more, that would suggest there might be some eating issues.
Maybe so.
Yes.
And then reward them
Yes.
Right.
for when they do.
hmm And some things you can just quietly eliminate.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
She's done that with me.
I do that with him.
All right, the pretzels have
Let's take
disappeared.
it
All right, go ahead.
We
another
were
one.
a pretzel
All right, go
couple.
ahead.
Okay. What are steps we can take after your spouse has had an affair?
This is your
Ooh.
expertise.
Yes.
All
That's a
right,
big
your
one.
expertise.
So what I usually try to do when I have a couple who is in the midst of what I'm hoping is healing from an affair is stop the decision making. You don't want to make a decision about that's going to affect the rest of your life, that's going to affect your children's lives, it's going to affect you financially while you're still in the midst of the emotional turmoil. You don't want to let your emotions make the decision for you. So what is good to do is have some time where you can just say to yourself, this has happened to me. Am I able to survive this? What does this mean for me? What does this tell me about my marriage, my relationship? What does this tell me about this person? So there should be some time where you are able to just stop and tell yourself the truth. And then after you talk to yourself, for me, I would say I need to pray, but that's not everybody's thing.
Well, that's a good one, though. We give it to them. Pray first,
Yes.
and then.
But what if you're just angry? If you're angry?
Then that's a good thing to tell yourself.
I'm angry.
I'm angry.
And I'm hurt.
And I'm hurt.
Okay, but
Right.
don't make any major decisions
Right.
in that
You don't
moment.
want to
So,
let.
but then I shouldn't do anything because I'm angry.
That's right. And you don't want the anger to make the decision for
Oh,
you.
that's good.
Oh.
You
Don't
don't
let
want
the
the
anger
hurt
or the hurt make the
to make the
decision.
decision.
Right.
Let's get a
Right.
rational work
Right.
through it. Now, for those who
And I can't be rational while I am really angry.
Right.
okay,
And I also recommend
I know I can't. Yeah.
I recommend that you, with something as big as that you want to get some professional help.
okay, you get
You want to
counseling.
talk to someone, and if you can sit down, you know what a therapist does, especially in those emotionally laden situations, is they hold your pieces for you.
Mm.
What does
We
that
hold
mean,
those
Lulu?
pieces. That means we'll hold your anger, we'll hold your heartbreak, your confusion,
Yeah.
while you're trying to put all these other pieces together. While you're trying to move the puzzle pieces together to look at
That's a good
the new
visual.
picture,
Mm.
you know, and also
And-
gives
and-
you some time to sort out what direction you
And
want
let
to
me
go.
ask you this, because this is important. You have seen marriages healed
Yes, absolutely,
who have had affairs.
absolutely.
So there has
Sometimes,
to be
you know, this is
forgiveness.
a terrible thing to say. I don't like this fact, but sometimes the marriage, the relationship is better after the
Wow.
affair.
Wow.
Sometimes,
Because it things
Once
that
in a
they
while.
didn't know.
right? Because
There were hollow areas.
yeah,
you
there
know.
were hollow areas. There were the affairs bring a lot of things to light.
Okay, so
If
let me
you
just say
process
though
it.
to everybody who's thinking about, oh, I'm gonna go get me an affair.
Yeah.
Don't have an affair.
Don't have an affair. 'Cause I'm telling you, you might have a wife like I got,
Right, that's
Right.
and I
right.
come home with some less body parts.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Wake up
that's
dead.
I'm not recommending.
But it does
I'm
happen.
not recommending an affair.
Right.
But
can't-
if you
can't
have
make
an
it through.
affair,
Yeah.
then
You
it
couldn't
is
get
an
through it.
indication that there is some misalignment, and maybe a misalignment between the relationship partners, and there may be misalignment or incongruence inside.
Okay, so let's go to the next step on that question
Mhm.
with that. We've met a lot of people, and we've had a couple of them who've come up to us who said, we have not been intimate
Yes.
in 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 years.
Yes.
Wow.
We've had all those numbers. We've met
Yes.
people. How do they re-engage things?
Well, I think they've said it to us separately.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
have not had the couple say
No,
it.
no, it's just one or the
Right,
other.
right,
Yes.
right,
One or the
right.
other
And
has
others don't
said.
want to acknowledge that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
People, that you have to be at a place of desperation sometimes to even acknowledge that we haven't had sex in 2 years. But I've worked with couples where that is the case. I actually very early on in my practice had a couple that had been married for 10 years.
All right.
Okay, had a couple that had been married for 10 years and had never consummated their
Wow.
marriage. Yes. And
Really?
they were in therapy because one of them wanted to have sex now. They were like, okay, it's been 10 years.
Yeah, that's fair.
Let's go ahead and
Wow.
Wow.
do
So,
this. And, but
they've
what
stayed together for 10 years.
yes.
Hearing
They
about
had
each other.
they had a great friendship. They had a great working sort of I don't want to say business partnership in the sense that they were in business together, but they handled the business of the home,
the business
the
affairs
business of the relationship.
Mhm.
They had found a way to be productive and fruitful together. They just had not had, and they had
so
a very
what's
close,
so
intimate
so I'm gonna get right to what's the
Just
nitty gritty.
consensual.
What do you tell them?
Right.
What do you tell them?
Some people have to make a decision. They have to choose to be sexual.
Okay, they have to choose.
They
Make a
have to
decision.
choose. Some people don't have to make that choice. It happens naturally.
Okay.
You always want to check with the biology first
Uh-huh.
because there may be, you know, biological systems that
Or
aren't working.
limitations.
Right. Yeah. And so you want to check about
Medicine can help a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Medicine can help.
Yeah, I mean,
And then
that. Yeah.
Right.
And
other
some
stuff can
people-
help.
right.
Obviously, in our culture, in our society, sometimes there's been a sexual abuse history
Mm.
that is a barrier.
Yeah.
I have a couple that I'm working with now that they're sexually active. They've been married for 5 years. The husband has never initiated sex in the 5 years that they've been together.
Wow.
He has never initiated sex. Now he's attracted to his wife. She's very attractive, very beautiful woman. But he, it turns out, had a history of sexual abuse
Wow.
prior to his marriage, and he was 18, 19 years old, and he was a big guy. He was going into the military, and somebody drugged him and took advantage of him, and he had not healed from that wound. So sexual activity brought up emotions for him that he had not yet reconciled or
So do you
untangled.
help them walk through the reconciliation progress?
Yes.
Okay. So that's what
So
I
I
think.
have to think, how do you get that far and have a marriage and you're communicating, which obviously really did not happen.
Right.
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 Well, he
with this on your heart.
well
Right.
he dated women who were sexual aggressors, and so they were not comfortable with their sexuality,
Okay.
and this kind of worked for him. They liked being the aggressor. He liked, having them initiate. But now that we're 5 years into this
And
marriage,
kind of work
the wife is feeling like, okay, well, wait a minute, I want to feel, like I'm attractive. I want to feel
Pursued, yeah.
desirable
pursuit
as well. And so then that's when they
identify
started to have
that
this
there
shift.
is an issue.
Yes.
All right, so
Yes.
they're going right with that same concept or same issue is how do you deal with a wife who's going through PMS
Yes.
or menopause
Mhm.
and is emotional about everything and the relationship is not
Right.
getting proper attention?
Get some drugs.
PMS, I guess you see that for women going
Yeah.
through menopause, as my pastor said, men on pause.
Right.
How do you deal with that? What do you recommend?
So, one of the things that I think is really critical is to talk with couples about their perspective of marriage and their roles in the marital relationship. Their roles in relationship. If I see myself as your caretaker, as your friend, as the one who loves you and wants what's best for you, and I'm trying to take care of you, to care for you, and then menopause, PMS, it's one of the things that it's going to cause me concern for you. So I'm going to talk to you about what's going on with you.
And
Yeah.
how
are
we
you
can
feeling
solve the
mentally?
problem.
And how we
How are
solve
you
the problem?
feeling?
Exactly.
Right, because it's not
And then
your
again,
problem.
and then again,
It's
it's
our problem.
Yes.
Because menopause, PMS, physical illness, emotional pain, they're all in our environment, our relational environment.
wow.
They're all a part of our mix here. This is our mix.
Yeah.
So how are we? What do you need from me
Right.
when you're feeling
And let me just give my
emotional?
personal
Falling apart.
experience.
Yeah.
When I went through some of these over the years, I had to just be patient.
Yeah.
I had to make up my mind. I'm willing to be patient.
You open the window.
I'd open the window, she said she hot. I go close the window, she said she cold. She's throwing stuff off, she putting stuff
Right,
on.
right,
Okay,
right.
I just go with it,
And there's practice, and my son does martial arts. Well, he did martial arts for several years. In Aikido, there's a practice where you are not resisting your opponent. Like if they're pushing this way and you match force for force, now you're just sort of stuck here and nobody's moving. But if you let them push and you just take their energy and let them go by, it goes by faster. And so if you take the position, okay, I'm in this with you. What are we doing now? Okay, we got windows up. Okay, windows up. We
Right.
got the covers on. Okay, we got the covers
Yes.
on.
That's exactly
You'll
what
go
I didn't know I was doing a keto.
And
But I was trying to get this thing moving. You know, when you're going through hell, don't stop. Keep going.
That's right. And
That's
then we'll
really
both
funny.
get through it faster.
That's right. That's
And
good.
then, but I feel like I have a partner in this.
Yes.
Because I do feel like I'm going out of my mind. But you're here. It sends a message. You're here with me. It's not like, okay, you crazy, I'm gone, you by yourself. Deuces. It's we're in this together. and that will bring some emotional stability and
So,
comfort.
Yeah,
and y'all, go
I was
ahead.
gonna say, and one thing to just keep in mind, especially if you're the husband and your wife is going through something like that, don't take it personal.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? I mean, you know, again, just stay task focused as men do typically anyway, and you know, just focus on the task at hand. And as they say, you'll get through it. But no love lost.
But to also be encouraging, a couple of things I did. How do I? Because I didn't medicate myself, but exercising and how that helped to bring my temperature down,
Yes.
or doing yoga and other things that I got into much more physical
Right.
that helped to control the hot flashes
Right.
and all those other things.
And so the conversation is
And
like,
then now,
menopause has come to us. This is how menopause affects you.
yes.
This is how menopause is affecting me. What can we do to maintain our connection?
Can
while
I
we
take you
go
to
through
yoga
this?
today, Will? You going to 6 o'clock in the morning? I'll take you to
Right.
So in our book, there's one of the things that came to mind was our friends from Florida who said that what they do is they team up on the problem.
That's
Whatever
it.
they throw, they rather than fighting each other,
On the other side
they
of the
throw
table.
the problem on the other side of the net.
Yes.
And then they say, what are we going to do as a team
Yeah,
to
to
fix
attack that
that
problem.
problem? And that's a great visual, and it's a great system.
Right.
One of the things, we had a call, my wife's birthday was last week.
Oh, happy
Oh,
birthday!
Thank you.
Yeah, our anniversary
21.
was last week.
You know?
21, I like that.
Yeah, see?
And
I love you.
while we were at dinner, I got a text from a family member and said, I need to talk to you. Everything's off the rails. Okay. And so, you know, she said, when can you talk? I said, well, we're finishing dinner with another couple, her best friend, same birthday. And so I finally called them back, and they said, and they went deep. One told them all of the details and all of the issues and what happened and who said what and how somebody else said something. And then the other one got on and said, but that, you know, didn't acknowledge me and that. And they went deep. And I said, stop. I don't really care what happened. What I realize is y'all don't have systems.
Yeah.
And if you had systems, then you understand that the system will work for you and not against you. So what we put in the book are more systematic. Systems on money, systems on disagreeing, systems on handling a stalemate, systems so that you don't go into all the minutiae because it's immaterial. A year from now, y'all be broke up
Right.
over these little minor things.
Yeah.
You'll be mad at each other over minor things that you could have kept minor or not even an issue if you had a system. So that's why we tell people, go through the book together.
Right.
Chapter by chapter and say, let's get a system for our money, which is one of the ones I want to talk about right now. Okay.
Right.
Okay.
That's why I'm thinking about it because I just read that one. My wife makes more money than me and believes she should be the one to determine how the money should be spent. I don't agree with how she handles money. What should I do?
Who's the head of the household?
That's a critical question.
Point. Obviously, the wife said, because I make more money, I am.
Well, see, this is weird. You have to have these discussions before you get married.
Well, let's say they thought we have another one like that where the husband was well employed
Yes.
when they got married,
Yes.
but he lost his job
Yes.
after a year, and the wife became the breadwinner, and now it's a drama filled. And what I
But that who's the breadwinner and who is the head of the household? Those are two.
that's
totally
exactly
different
right.
roles.
That's exactly right.
Those
So
are two totally different.
that's
roles.
exactly and like
Who's the head of the household is who is responsible for maintaining and meeting the goals and the objectives of the family. Who's the breadwinner is who's earning more money.
So what we tell people is when we got married.
Wait.
Let me finish this thought. I told her, you run everything. Just let me think I'm in charge. All right, just let me think I'm in charge. And she's done that well. And so what we have is this. We have a system
Yeah.
for when we don't agree on something. And money has never been an issue because we started a system that worked.
Right.
But what we do
Work for us.
Work for us.
For you.
But we tell in the book, chapter number 10, there are 3 systems.
Yeah.
The 1-part system, the 2-part system, the 3-part system.
Yes.
You find which one works for you best
Right.
and you employ it. Now, going back to head of the household. Let's talk about that.
But truth has to be there.
Oh, absolutely.
Regardless of what you choose to do, if you have not talked about it and have not been real in how you feel about that,
Yes.
that's going to be a problem.
Absolutely.
Right.
Like you said, head of the household versus
Breadwinner.
who's the primary breadwinner.
Right.
So you could be the head of the household, but someone else is the primary breadwinner. Who's managing everything?
And so that's what, from my perspective, you could be the head of the household and still not be the manager.
And I
You could
that's-
be that.
Fine.
So and what has helped me is that I'm in business for myself, and I have people who work for me. And I'm the CEO, but I may not be the office manager.
Correct.
You know, I have people who work for me who have PhDs, and we've talked about, you know, you can be the head, you can be the one who's in charge, but you may not be the subject matter expert.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so, sorry, go ahead.
No, I'll let you finish because I had an anecdote I was going to share.
So, you know, what's important is that each couple has to decide how their household system and structure is going to be set up.
Yeah.
And they've got to be in agreement with that. They
So
got
now
And once they
they're
set an
not in
agreement,
agreement.
Right.
They can stay with, they have a map.
Right.
As you say, the structures and the systems.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, and I was just going to say that first, everything comes down to communication. The reason why marriage can be very hard is because sometimes people just don't take the time, or they might not know how important communication is.
Yeah.
In everything. You want to make sure you know where the limits are, strengths and weaknesses, and if you communicate, then it makes it a lot easier. So I know a couple where the wife was much stronger mathematically than the husband. The husband, as head of household, said, hey, this is your strength. This is a gift that you have that I don't have. So even though I'm head of household, this part of your to-do list is making sure the budget is right and all of that, but we will still come into agreement with that.
Yes.
And
So-
so,
It's like the head of the household is the coach.
Right, okay.
That the coach
He ain't
doesn't
gotta
necessarily, he can't throw
throw
the ball,
he can't run
may
the
not
ball.
run, he may not receive, but he makes sure that all of the players are playing to their strengths.
Right.
And he assesses, he or she determines what the needs are of the team, and then is responsible for making sure that everybody on the team has their needs met. Everybody on the, because being the head of the household doesn't mean that you just have authority.
Right.
It means that you have responsibility.
That,
Right.
oh,
You
say that
have-
again.
you have
Hold that again.
responsibility.
I like
Folks,
that.
I want you to hear that one.
Right.
That head of the household does not mean just authority, but
You have
responsibility.
and
Yeah.
you have authority so that you can carry out your responsibility.
Woo,
If
that's
you're not
deep. I
carrying
love
out
that.
Wow.
the
Oh, that's
responsibility,
good.
then there's no need for you to have authority.
Ooh, that's good. Oh, that is good. Did y'all hear that? Did you hear that? That was good.
Why do you need to have authority?
Ooh.
Because what
Wow.
happens is that when you have authority, you're exercising authority, but not with responsibility, you're just practicing selfishness.
Wow.
You're just taking that authority
Wow.
that you have, you're abusing it, misusing it because you're trying to get what you want that's good for yourself.
Wow.
This
The
is good
authority
stuff.
is so that
Wow.
you can make sure that everybody that's on your team is well taken care of.
Wow.
Everybody that's on your team has their needs met, and that
That's
the team
good.
is functioning at its, greatest
So do you have
capacity.
an article about this? Is somewhere we can go and get that? What you just said?
Oh,
That
it's
is
on the way.
deep.
It's on the way.
All right, that is deep. That was
Wow.
really good.
2019, man.
Hey, tweet that.
2019.
Tweet that. Share
It's
this
on
with.
the way. It's
Okay,
on
go
the
back
way.
again.
Responsibility
Yeah.
requires
Authority.
Authority.
Yeah.
Authority is
Authority.
null and void if you don't take responsibility.
Right, right.
Oh, that's
No
good.
need
All
for
right, so
Wow.
here's a big one.
wow.
Okay. How do I address a spouse who leaves the house for long periods of time without communicating where she is? We had that communication just come up recently. So we had a conversation with a couple, and we talked about how to disagree without being disagreeable.
Mm-hmm.
And our system for disagreeing without being disagreeable stems from our chapter, which we give away free, about Chinese food. Go read it. I'm not going to go into detail now. Just go read the
He
chapter.
loves Chinese
food.
food.
Right,
No.
and we talk about
He's
it.
a connoisseur.
I'm a connoisseur. Everybody who's heard me talk know about my connoisseur. But we had a disagreement, and I hollered at her, and she threatened to leave me, and so we got a deal. We made an agreement. I would not holler at her. She said she would never threaten to leave me, and that's been 30 years ago.
Amen.
We haven't having an argument in 30 years. We have not had an argument in 30 years.
Wow, y'all need to be bronzed.
So here's what I say. We had a couple come over. He said he doesn't like when she disrespects him.
Yeah.
Put it on the table. She said, I don't like when you don't come home at dinner time,
Yeah.
or you stay out late into the night and don't let me know where you are.
Right.
So they leave here. About a week later,
No, they do agree.
they agree.
Sit
And
at our
they
counter.
agree.
Right.
And within a week, she called and said, "It's midnight. I ain't had."
No, she sent a text.
So a text.
Mm-hmm.
And so he came over to visit, and I sat down with him. I took him downstairs.
Yeah.
I said, "What's wrong with you?
That
What
was
is
real
wrong?
counseling.
Right,
What's wrong with you?
right,
What's
right.
wrong with you, boy? Didn't I tell you that women need security?"
Right.
Is that
Yes, they
counseling?
do.
Right.
All right.
And you know, he said, but here's what he said. Here's the lesson I gave. He said, but she flips out. So when things, she just goes ballistic. I said, okay. Now I gave him an analogy. I said, let's say you went up to the top of the Empire State Building, and you decided to jump.
Mm-hmm.
When you leave that building, your choices are over and your consequences begin, and you cannot choose the
That's
consequence.
right.
Right.
So when you choose that choice of jumping, your choice is over.
Yeah.
Right.
She might, you might hit the ground and bounce up,
Right.
or you might hit the ground and splat.
Right.
You can't choose which one of those consequences.
Exactly.
Same is true when you do something that you know bugs her, and she responds. You have made the choice, knowing that's a problem.
Right.
That when she hollers, screams, shut down, don't give you none, whatever it is, you have created that because you can choose the choice,
Right.
but you cannot choose the consequence of the choice.
Yeah. That's
So
the word.
don't make a choice that you cannot choose.
But
the
I
consequence.
think part of the challenge
Right,
is
right.
with all of that, he has not addressed why he stays out late. Why
Well,
is it?
Why is it?
he
What do you
does
think?
not Want to? I'm not gonna.
I don't know what the reason is, but he made a promise.
Yes.
That's all I'm saying. If he can't make the
Right,
promise,
right,
don't
right.
promise what you can't
promise
keep.
what
And
you
say,
can't keep.
once
Then-
you say
then
you're going to
you
do
lose
it,
trust.
then she's
Then
trust.
there's no
Right.
trust.
Right. So we're
And
saying,
now you compromise your
Right.
your enjoyment of the relationship.
that's right,
Right.
that's
Yeah.
right. So we want you to say, answer that question is,
Read
leave
the
the house.
question again, please.
How do you address a spouse who leaves the house for long periods of time without communicating where he or she is? First of all, you have to tell them friendly, frank, fair, and focused.
Mhm.
Here's how that makes me feel.
Right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
This is how it makes me feel when you leave the house and I don't know where you are.
Right.
I'm worried for you, one, and then I have all sorts of thoughts.
I'm
That's it. I'm
suspicious,
suspicious.
maybe.
My
Yeah.
trust level, and everybody wants security.
Right.
What
Yes.
what I have found that is missing from a lot of relationships is a vision statement. We don't talk about and we don't think about
Have vision
What-
statements in business.
in every other area of life.
Right.
Any other long-term?
And so, what are the goals for you in your relationship? What kind of relationship do you want to build? What type of intimacy what do you want that to look like? And then how is it that the decisions that you're making are creating what you want to experience?
Wow.
Because if you're staying out, then you're eroding the intimacy. Then you are draining your own relationship from the qualities you want to have.
Wow.
And
You're killing trust,
Wow.
and you need trust in order to have comfort.
Yep.
Yes.
And I think both, when you have the other pieces that you have to have both people to sit down and talk about that, what they both want, and do they have a shared dream? Do they have a shared vision?
I got to get to one
They need that
before because we got about 8 minutes left. Okay, this one y'all have to talk about because this is personally for y'all.
All right.
What do you do when your wife sides with your son over you?
Oh.
I'm trying to help him become a man.
Oh, okay. Yeah, and that's interesting because that, you know, that
Oh, let me say it
would
again. What do you do when your wife sides with the son over the dad's wishes because he's trying to help him become a man?
Yeah, that, I mean, you know, and I know if that's your situation, it's a tough one. And we don't want to sound like a broken record. It's always got to be communication first. You know, chances are that difficulty started before that 2-on-1 situation began. That's a difficulty that started earlier in the relationship, where the husband and wife are not on the same page when it comes to what it takes to have the young boy to become a man, and when it comes to the vision statement, you know, that becomes an issue too, because it could be that one parent is trying to launch and one parent is experiencing a failure to launch.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? And so, you know, it could be that the two parents just are not on the same page.
Yeah. Don't have the same vision.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow.
So specifically as it relates to that, you know, I mean, and again, I'll give my answer, but I'll defer to the other experts up here as well. When Sonia and David and I have not seen eye to eye, first, of course, I'm all trying to get to the communication to find out what's the root of this. And I know that Sonia wants our son to be a responsible adult, just like everybody else. And so normally I try to just communicate to help them to see the value of the perspective I'm saying. You know, normally, and again, I'm one about anecdotes, and normally I'll just have Sonia and David to just, you know, go through a few stories, but let me just leave it there and bounce it to you.
Before you go there, I was thinking the exact same thing. I thought about, we've raised a boy.
Mm-hmm.
He's 33 years old now.
Oh, right.
He's doing very well. For those who don't know, my son is back from LA. He's now the director of economic development for the city of Sea Pleasant. He's got a great job. He got a staff of people who love him. He loves them. He's doing well. Now, stories. Stories. My wife actually was the tougher of the on him than I was. She was tough, and yet when I would talk to him, I would teach him in parables.
Yes.
Right.
That's
Stories.
what Jesus did.
That's how
Right.
Jesus
Right.
taught. I would give him a story of how I wanted him to think and behave and act. And I wanted to be a man. I wanted to make him a man, but I also wanted to make sure he understood the principles.
Right.
So I tell him the stories.
Stories let you think.
Stories are, look, facts tell,
Yeah.
stories sell. Speaking of that,
Powerful.
before I forget,
Powerful.
facts tell, stories sell. For those who have asked, yes, we are having, while we're in a different space this week than we usually do in another part of the house, is because we're preparing for our speaker boot camp this weekend, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, and we do have
That's great.
now one slot left. Well, it was two earlier, but one slot left.
Wow.
So contact our office tomorrow if you're interested. But we told stories.
Yeah.
And over the years, I've learned as a speaker, tell stories.
Yeah.
And so that's a powerful part. Okay, Sonia, did you have anything to add to that?
I think I agree with Dwight that when you, even if it's not just about the kids, but in anything, if you're a couple and you find out that you're not in alignment, pause.
Whoo!
And
Woo!
say, wait a minute, we're not walking together.
Woo!
We're
That's
not
so
on the
good.
same page.
Woo! That's
You
good.
know, we can't.
That's
We're
good.
gonna get to the sun. Just wait a minute. We'll be with you in a moment. Step away. What are you trying to accomplish? What is
And
it
if
that
you
you're
disagree,
thinking?
we would
I
never do
don't-
it in front
right.
of the kids.
Right.
That's
You
what
never
I'm
do it.
saying. You step
Right.
away and you figure out where
Right.
you are so you can be on the same page.
And one thing Sonia said, you know, and I've heard her say in times past, you know, we're always trying to move forward. Everyone gets that. But her example is like, you know, if you have wheels and, you know, one person is on
Yeah.
18s and the other person is on 22s.
22s.
And you're
Yeah, we
trying
might
to get
get
down
there.
the street, but you're on 18s
We
and
might
22s.
get
That is
Right.
good.
And it's just
That
not
is good.
as
And it's
comfortable
like, you know,
experience.
We might get there, but I am not enjoying this ride.
That is
It's
so
it's
good.
limited.
That is
How
so
long-
good.
How
Okay.
long I'm gonna ride on this flat tire? I just can't
Wow.
do it.
All right, so a couple
Wow.
quick things. For those who are just joining us, haven't been with us before, the marriage book and Make Love, Make Money, Make It Last. We talk about how we have the 10 steps and secrets we've learned that have kept our marriage from drama for over 34 years. Then we got the audio. This is what I encourage you to go get. jollymarriage.com/live. It's the best seminar we've ever done. It's hilarious, it's pointed, it's clear about sex and the issues that men see and the issues women see. jollymarriage.com/live. Please tell them again where they can contact you, one, for your organization, and two, where they can reach you to hire you to be a therapist.
Okay, so we have two practices. One is lovesavers.org. That's LOVESAVERS.org. And that is for relationship coaching, life coaching, relationship maintenance. If you do not have a clinical mental health disorder, lovesavers.org. If you have a clinical mental health disorder, then you can reach me at Sonia, and that would be something like depression, anxiety, PTSD. If you're finding that you're just not functioning, call me, we can talk about it, and I'll tell you, okay, this sounds like it'd be better for life coaching, or this sounds like it'd be better for therapy. SoniaWilliams.com, SonjaWilliams, SoniaWilliams.com is for the clinical practice. Lovesavers, LOVESAVERS.org is for the maintenance, the coaching.
So
relationship.
our time is up, but we want to thank Dr. Dwight and Reverend Sonia Williams, who have a tremendous ministry, mission, and impact on the world through saving marriages. You know, Dee and I wrote this book because we want to save 1 million marriages and enhance 1 million more.
Our son prompted us to do it.
Our son made us do it. He pushed us to do it. We're glad. And it's our fastest, greatest selling book yet. People, we're about to order a new set because we're going to another print because it's just going that quickly.
So we need to hear from you in terms of what you need, what you want.
Questions. Send your questions.
They are amazing.
Send your questions to us at info@williejolly.com, and
let us know how you enjoyed this. And was this a benefit to you?
And pass it on to Lottie, Dottie, and everybody. And finally, we are planning to have a marriage seminar, all-day marriage seminar. We want to invite you to come. We're thinking early January so that y'all can come. We're going to want you to, if you're interested, say, I want part of that, where we can do a deep dive, a full day, go into deep questions and answers, as well as do some exercises to help you grow and go through our principles. So, again, info@williejolly.com if you're interested. Thank the Williamses. Thank y'all.
Yeah.
We appreciate y'all. Y'all are awesome. They're awesome. Next Monday night, Bishop Al and T-Way are going to talk about personality types that impact your marriage and how you need to understand the difference between the different personalities that you think.
I am such a great introvert.
Once I figure that out, it's all easy to roll.
Oh my goodness.
All right. See y'all soon. Have a great week. Jolly out.